Hello, spider friends, and happy Spiderversary to me. Okay, so this pretty much marks a year since I got back into the spider hobby, and since my channel changed from me opening like toys and blind bags to me caring for tarantulas. Like, and I changed channel since then, which I'm not going to go into. But yeah, like what started as me just recording myself opening blind bags because I'm a wee bit of a blind bag addict, to getting a tarantula mystery box and then being like, oh, I actually want to record my journey. And here we are a year later, and things have changed. I started with four, and I am currently on 26. But I average it out and I always say 30 when people ask, because if I say the exact number and things change, there's been some heartbreak. There have been losses. Um, some I genuinely don't know if it was down to me. Some I know there's nothing I could have done. For example, one of the spiders that I got in like the second mystery box was Apocolytheria metallica, um, and he was called Zuzu. And I was away on a training weekend, and when I came back, he was dead. And what had happened was he decided he was going to start shedding because it was an arboreal species. I gave him like a climbing structure, and he decided he was going to start shedding on top of the climbing structure. So when I came back, I found his molt at the top of the climbing structure, and I found him on the base of his enclosure. So even if it had been there was nothing I could have done. But I was very upset. I'm upset every time I lose a spider. Um, Tasha, my formerly Brachypelma albipilosum, now Toledo cattle albipilosum, she had a bad molt. She had a bad molt and she ruptured her abdomen, and there was nothing I could have done. And I was very upset. Um, my Brachypelma hamoritoni, he just died. He just died. And I don't know why. Um, it could have been something to do with me. It wasn't a molt issue. Um, so I don't know. I've got other spiders who've had molt issues who are still kicking now. So this is just part of the hobby, particularly since some species there's very little in terms of care notes, because some species there isn't that much written about them. For example, one of my first ones, Pedro, my Bumba, very little information out there. There's a fly. Got it. Very little information out there about that particular species. So winging it is pretty much what you have to do for a lot of species. But that's another reason I wanted to continue making these videos, like recording everything, including when things go wrong, so that we as a community can learn from each other's mistakes. And I think that's the only way we're going to be able to go forward. It's not the reptile community where there's a lot of information and people have been in the hobby for decades. There are some species who are brand new to the hobby. Very few people know information about them. There's few experts. There's few books written about them. There's a lot fewer books written about tarantulas than there is about reptiles like snakes. There are entire books written about certain species of snakes, and you will struggle to find decent information about tarantula care. There are a few books out there, but there are not many, and some of the books that are out there are woefully out of date. Some of them include information like putting sponges in water bowls, which as generally in the hobby is now pretty much like no one does that anymore. But it was something that people used to do. That was the care advice I was given when I got my very first tarantula when I was a child. So, you know, things change and they move on. And this, I think, is the way that the tarantula community is by making these videos. We update each other, we tell each other about our husbandry and practices, and this is how we move forward as the community, by recording everything, including when we mess things up, because if we don't learn from our mistakes, we're going to keep making them. So, with that in mind, I wanted to explore how some of my spiders are doing 1 year on. Now, some of these I got in the first mystery box, and some of them I got in the second mystery box that I got, and it was only a few weeks apart. So we're counting everything as just November. So one of the very first spiders that I got was Olivia, my Seriocosmus Purus Malisi, and this is her first shed. And back then I actually wrote the full date, but now I just do the month because I got lazy. But this was the 8th of the 1st, 2019. So the 8th of January. And this is Olivia's first shed. Some of them, for my tarantulas, I don't have all of their sheds because they destroyed them completely, or they fell apart when I removed them from the enclosure. Olivia's first shed, she hung up on a web, and then when I went to get it, she was like, "I will kill you! I will end you and all your family." But this is Olivia now, a year later. So there's her shed, and there's Olivia. She's in the little shot glass. So she is a dwarf species, the Bolivian dwarf beauty, and I believe this is possibly her full size. She might get a little bigger, but not much from what I've seen of mature males. That they are roughly this size, so she's done pretty much. I'm still assuming that she's a female. Apparently, mature males take 2 years to develop, so I won't probably know for another year or so for sure. But I've always just decided randomly on what gender my spiders are going to be, and then just gone with it. But that's the progression that we've got in a year. This was actually, she was classed as a juvenile at this size, so I haven't had her since being a sling, but she was very small. Now, slings who I have had since they were little teeny tiny babies. Pedro, my Bumbucker Bulkler. This is Pedro's first shed. This was the 21st of the 3rd, 2019. So I had him from the November, and he shed in the March. And this is his tiny little shed here. And then this is his most recent shed. I showed this the other day. And this is Pedro now. Like, this is actually quite shocking for long time watchers of my channel, because Pedro has always been a pet hole. He's always been hidden underground, very rarely came out. Didn't get a picture of him for ages. I'm very slowly turning him around. But he is now an absolutely gorgeous spider. It's not going to focus, but his abdomen is this beautiful velvet black. The common name is Brazilian redhead. His carapace is this beautiful red colour. He is an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous spider, and I'm really surprised like how he's come on in a year from like this tiny little, like that's the tiny little thing that he was, to this now. It really is amazing watching them grow from these little tiny, like teeny, like, can we get that to focus? No. Teeny tiny little slings into the beautiful spiders that they are now. And he certainly is a beautiful spider, and I am very happy to have him. Don't know how big he's actually going to get in total, but this is something that we shall see. Now, another spider that I've had for a very long time is Momo. Again, formerly a Brachypelma albipilosum, a curly hair. This is a true form curly hair. She is now a Toledo cattle albipilosum, and this was Momo's first shed, the 31st of the 3rd, 2019. I found this in March 2019, and again, tiny, teeny tiny little Momo shed there. And then today, well, actually it was last night, she shed again. So this is her most recent shed compared to her first one. And I don't know if we're going to be able to see her in her enclosure. When I saw her, she was very freshly shed. Her legs were still white. She's in her little hide. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up, but there she is. It's amazing that she's gone from like this size to this size in the year that I've had her. But yeah, she's a lovely, lovely spider. She's getting on really well. I'm very pleased with her growth rate. I've never had a true form curly hair before Momo. My original one was hobby form. Tasha was a hobby form. Trisha is a hobby form. Momo is true form. So I'm very excited to see how they compare when they're fully grown. But yeah, Momo's been a great spider. Again, a bit of a pet hole. But now she's been upgraded to this size enclosure. She's out and about more. She's not tunnelling as much. But the option's there for her if she wants to. There's plenty of room for her to dig a tunnel. But yeah, that was like a really nice surprise because she didn't shed that long ago. But her previous shed she did totally destroy. So I don't have that one. Now, one that I have most, but not all, because of the destroying thing, is Clancy. My Pteranodon marinus, my OBT red colour form. Clancy, there's Clancy. You may notice that there's not as much webbing as there normally is in this thing. Basically, I sort of had to destroy it a little bit because he'd webbed it all to the lid because he's a numpty. Like I had to destroy it a little bit to get his shed out. So he started webbing again. I mean, you can see he's already started. He's quite happy, and I've got no doubt in like a week or two this whole thing's going to be full again of his webbing. So when that is through, I'll do an update. But these are his sheds from July, August and November of this year, and they're the ones I used on the thumbnail. So this was Clancy in July. This is his July one. Then he shed again a month later in August. And then this is his most recent one, which is, I didn't get it quite as fresh because again I had to like dig around in his webs to get it out. But yeah, that's his most recent one, and he's growing beautifully. And again, he was a sling when I first got him, and I don't have all of his sheds because he has a habit of destroying them. But yeah, he's been a terrific tarantula. Even though he's like an OBT, and OBTs are scary, I've actually only ever had positive experiences with Clancy, so I'm quite an ambassador for the OBT. I like them. I like them a lot. This is not a spider I've had as long, I think, but this is Fluffy, and I just wanted to show you this, like, because Fluffy's been upgraded to a bigger enclosure than what they were in previously. To be honest, it's the same surface area, it's just got a little bit more height, and that's because Fluffy is getting to a size where they just need a little more space to stretch out and walk around. But it's not too tight. It's basically, it's an extra inch of height from the previous enclosure, but it just gives them a little more space to walk around and crawl in. I don't like to keep spiders in very, very small enclosures. I like to have them a little bit of walking around space. And the only time that that's backfired was with the aforementioned Zuzu. But if you're gonna molt up a structure, like when you're an arboreal species, you are a stupid spider. So there was nothing I could have done. And then here, and again, I don't have all of her sheds because she does destroy a couple of them, but this was Opal's first shed. Opal is my Pamphobetus SP Macala Colombian Purple Starburst. This was Opal's first shed back in March. I had a lot of sheds in March, and then this is Opal now. That's Opal now. So let's just do a size comparison. This is how much she's grown since March. I had no idea that they could grow that fast. She's definitely grown the most quickly from all of my spiders, and to the largest size compared to when I first got her. She's not as big as Carmen. She's probably just the same size as Debbie Harriman, a Handu Trippapy. But those were both larger spiders. Those were both subadults when I got them. So Opal here was a juvenile, and now she's, I don't know if this is a subadult size or adult size, but she's done so well, and she's such a awful spider, an awful spider to own. She's so grumpy and moody. She doesn't like me. She doesn't like anyone really. But she's a good eater, except when she's in pre-molt, but then at least that's very telling for her. So she does have a bald spot on her butt right now. I think I've got a hair in my finger because it's itchy. She does have a bald spot on her butt, and she refused her last meal. So I'm going to try and feed her a dead locust, and see if she's interested in eating it. So I have a locust here, if I can get it out of the tub. Come on. You're going to be well, I say it's dead. It's twitching. It's twitching a little bit. Not the most ideal way to feed a tarantula, but we're just winging it. Just winging it. Concentration face. Okay, right. Opal, are you hungry? Fight. Opal? No, she's not hungry. Oh, you want to eat it? You You want to eat it now? I can take it away if you don't want it. Look, are you going to... I'm sorry, I'm going to have to do this for my view, not yours. Look, do you want this or not? No, she's just kicked hairs at it. I think she's definitely in... It's a bit floppy. I think she's definitely in pre-molt. With her kicking hairs at the locust and not wanting to eat it, because she's normally quite a greedy little pig. But we'll see. I will offer her food again in maybe a week or two, see if she's hungry. I've learned a lot over the past year, made mistakes, but learned from them, hopefully. I know things I'd do differently and things I wouldn't change. I think I've got a better grasp now on what kind of spiders I enjoy keeping. I've had a lot of pleasure from both Carmen and Daisy, my Canthus geneticulatas. They've been some really nice spiders to have. My Phomictopus SP Green, Marley, beautiful spider, great temperament, does try to escape often. But yeah, I'm very pleased with how this first year's gone. I'm going to continue making spider videos as well as my other stuff because I like making videos and it makes me happy. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. And I want to thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And if you ring the notification bell, it will tell you when I'm live streaming, because I tend to live stream rather than upload, just because it's so much easier with having like a dodgy internet connection. So yes, thanks very much. Hopefully I'll see you again next time.